The top stories: Ministry of Health discloses the resumption of over 50 health stations across Tigray. And South African president calls on African nations to speak in one voice. Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy applauds the telecom privatization measures to help transform Ethiopia's economic system. Global Partnership for Ethiopia and Ethiopian Communications Authority have officially signed agreements at the presence of Ethiopian and Kenyan leaders for the telecom licensing agreement. Santayo Tamrat tells you more.
Ethiopian Communication Authority and Global Partnership for Ethiopia have signed the historic telecom licensing agreement in the presence of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. Director General of Ethiopian Communication Authority and representatives of the Global Partnership for Ethiopia have signed the agreement. The signing ceremony marks the unlocking of Ethiopian digital economy. Addressing the occasion, Prime Minister Abiy said privatizing telecom helps Ethiopia modernize its economic development.
In agriculture, the backbone of Ethiopia's economy, for example, mobile-based technology systems will provide agricultural-related service to farmers. Vital real-time information such as livestock tracing, weather data and commodity pricing available via mobile phone will improve productivity for farmers. Also positively impacted will be digital banking and payment systems that will give the government, businesses, as well as consumers of such services efficient access, digital financial inclusion, and more control over financial transactions. In the education sector, online courses will be much more readily available and propagated electronically throughout the country.
Appreciating Ethiopia's move, Kenyan President hoped this would play a key role in promoting regional integration.
Today's event builds on the mutual commitments made by our respective governments. During my visit to Ethiopia in March of 2019, Your Excellency, you promised a number of deliverables as top 10s on your agenda. Among them included your government's commitment to promote and attracting foreign investment, and specifically taking significant steps to improve relations between Kenya and Ethiopia in the area of cross-border trade, tourism, energy, infrastructure, among others. Your Excellency, you also committed to opening up the Kenya-Moyale border and growing it into an economic hub for East Africa, in addition to accelerating efforts that were already underway to fast-track the Lapsed Corridor project. During that memorable Moyale border function, I remember you clearly challenged the Kenyan private sector to capitalize on the untapped investment opportunities in Ethiopia. And I believe today's ceremony is indeed a testimony of the progress that we are making towards economic cooperation between our two nations.
President Uhuru also vows his country would share its experience in the sector to Ethiopia.
I do believe as leaders we are duty-bound to build on the shared history, the common values, similar dreams, and deep connections of family, friendship, and business to bring Ethiopia and Kenya even closer together. And I believe this ceremony today is the first step in an exciting and rewarding opportunity for Ethiopia. Kenya has seen the great gains and opportunities unleashed by Safaricom across the entirety of our social-economic landscape. Ethiopia now stands at the cusp of making even greater strides in Safaricom's areas of strength, which include digital presence, mobile money, telephony, data, and fiber connectivity, as well as business, agricultural, health solutions, amongst others.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Ethiopia will continue executing its privatization plan and strengthen the reform in all sectors of the economy.
A more vibrant telecommunications sector will contribute billions to Ethiopia's economy through SME productivity gains, job creations, and private sector participation, which taken together can have an exponential impact on economic growth. From the government side, we will continue with the reform process in all sectors of the economy. We are at the final stage of starting the tendering process to partially privatize Ethio Telecom with a size of 14% of the company's share to international investors and 5% to Ethiopians. We will also complete the award of the second new nationwide telecom license with the necessary policy adjustment following the same transparent and inclusive tendering process. I call all players in the sector to coordinate and redouble our efforts to connect everyone to the global digital economy.
In 2018, Ethiopia announced a commitment to liberalize the telecommunications sector and opened it up to both domestic and foreign investment. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed called the decision to liberalize the telecommunications sector a major policy shift in Ethiopia.
Ministry of Health discloses over 50% of hospitals and health stations are now made fully operational in the Tigray regional state. The National Disaster Risk Management Commission, for its part, articulated that it has provided humanitarian support to 5.2 million people in the stated region. The remarks were released today at a press briefing organized by the Prime Minister's office. Daniel Kasahon has more.
The law enforcement operation against the TPLF junta is not only a success story as claimed by, but it is also cause of deaths, displacements of millions, and lots of calamities. In response to the adverse situations, a task force was organized to help normalizing situations in the Tigray regional state. With regard to achievements in the health facilities, the Minister, Dr. Liata Desa, said over 50% of hospitals and health stations are now made fully operational.
Currently, 55% of the hospitals and 52% of the health centers in the region have been made functional. If you have seen our report last week, the figure was about 46% for both health centers and hospitals, which is 52% currently, because the past 1 week, 10 more health centers have become functional. And in those functional health facilities, more than 95% of the health workers are actively engaged in their day-to-day work. For the remaining health facilities, evaluation has been done on the extent of damage, and currently fund has been allocated by the federal government to maintain and restore services in 14 hospitals and 58 health centers.
The National Disaster Risk Management Commissioner, Mtuku Kesa, for his part, articulated his commission has been able to provide humanitarian support to 5.2 million people in 3 rounds.
Since the law enforcement operation completed, food and non-food items were delivered for 4.5 million beneficiaries in the first round and have been delivered for 5.2 million beneficiaries in the second and third round. 170,798 metric ton of food, which costs 5.4 billion Ethiopian birr or 135 million USD, distributed so far.
He also underlined that 70% of the humanitarian cost has been covered by the government, and the rest, 30%, was solicited from aid organizations.
The full press briefing will be aired right after the news. Make sure you watch it. Students of public and private schools in Tigray, region's capital city Mekelle, have expressed joy over the reopening of classes due to the law enforcement operation conducted in that region following the heinous acts orchestrated by the TPLF criminal enterprise. Major social activities, including the teaching-learning process, have long been disrupted in the region, it was indicated. However, the current interim administration of Tigray Regional State has been exerting efforts to reverse the situation in collaboration with the federal government and other stakeholders over the past months. Accordingly, public and private schools in Mekelle have resumed classes yesterday. Students approached by the Ethiopian news agency in the city expressed joy over the reopening of schools. Ethiopian ambassador to Cuba, Shiburu Mamo, told the Latin American news agency Prensa Latina that Ethiopia is interested to enhance its ties with Caribbean countries. Ethiopia is very interested in cooperating with the Caribbean countries, which is vital to their overall development and essential in their active participation in regional and international platforms, said the ambassador in an interview with Prensa Latina. The ambassador further stressed his government's commitment to expand and deepen collaboration with the Caribbean nations. Ethiopia is highly dedicated to unravel the differences with the downstream countries regarding the trilateral negotiations on the GERD, he added.
አንድ አራተኛው የትግራይ ውቅር አብያተ ክርስቲያን የሚገኘው በገራ አልታና ተያያዥ በሆኑ ተራራዎች ላይ ነው የሚባለው።
Sculpted out of sandstone, the most wondrous of these is Abuna Yamataga. There's only one way up. You have to climb this cliff face. Welcome to the world's most perilous church.
Welcome back. You're watching Addis News Hour. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has today presided over the annual conference of Gurage Development and Cultural Center. President of the Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples Region and Deputy Mayor of Addis Ababa, Adanech Abiy, among other officials, have also attended the annual conference. On the occasion, the Premier applauded the role of all sections of the society in strengthening national unity. He further appreciated the contribution of the Gurage people in the country's trade and cultural dimensions. The Premier further called upon citizens to play their share in preserving cultural and historical heritage of the country and maintain the ongoing development achievements. The Electoral Board of Ethiopia stated on Wednesday that the already started distribution of poll worker training materials will be concluded during the next 2 days. In a press conference held today, the board briefed journalists on the arrangements of voting and training materials and other preparations underway ahead of the upcoming national elections. The board announced preparations to offer trainings for 150,000 electoral executive officers in places where the materials have arrived. Further distribution will be carried out from constituencies to polling stations across the nation, the board indicated. Ethiopia will hold the upcoming general elections as of June 21st, 2021. Ethiopian Embassy in Britain announced that the second phase of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam awareness and fundraising campaign commenced today in London. As to the information obtained from the embassy, civic organizations coordinated the campaign in collaboration with the embassy. The source indicated that the campaign would run for 2 months until August 7th, 2021, and the main objective of the campaign are to mobilize financial and human resources or raise funds for the completion of the GERD, recognize and provide moral and psychological support for the people working on the site, and inform the international community, members of the Ethiopian diaspora and friends of Ethiopia about the relevance of GERD to the people of Ethiopia and the region. According to the EPA, the embassy stated that the first campaign was finalized with a great success in both fundraising and awareness creation. It is also to be recalled that Ethiopian ambassador to Britain, Ambassador Teferi Mellese, told recently all-party parliamentary group that the construction of GERD is going as planned and the project is expected to be completed by 2023. He reaffirmed Ethiopia's assertion for a win-win solution to all and its long-standing commitment for reaching a fair agreement with downstream countries.